Hello everyone, I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Wednesday. Today I'm doing a comparison video between the Chanel card holder and the Saint Laurent card holder or card case. I will be doing a quick overview to give you guys some details on each item, and then I will make sure and put the measurements on each one on the description box below, and then we will get into the comparison. Alright, so let's start off with the Chanel one first. The Chanel card holder retails for $400 here in the States. It has a total of 3 credit card slots, 1 in the front, 2 on the back, and then it has also this little top compartment, and it has just the simple double CC logo hardware here on the front. And for the most part, the pockets are lined with fabric, and only this little guy up here has a little bit of leather on the lip that you can see there, right there. Okay, and there we go. And when it comes to the Saint Laurent, this cutie retails for $250 here in the States. It has a total of 4 credit card slots, 2 on the front, 2 on the back, and then you also have this little compartment on the top here. And you have the beautiful hardware with the monogram, the YSL there. And for the most part, the compartments, the credit card slots on this one are lined with mostly leather and some fabric. So here they are side by side. As you can see, they are pretty much, they're relatively the same size. There we go. Let's do a side view of them. The Chanel one tends to be a little bit on the thicker side, I feel. And then really, again, they're pretty much the exact same size. I love both items, you know, and I've had the Chanel card holder for about 1.5 years now, and I've used it. It's been in rotation with other small wallets whenever I'm going compact. And the Saint Laurent, I believe I've had it for about 2.5 months now, and I used it every single day when I first got it for about a month. You know, and I think they're both phenomenal pieces, great to add to any collection, especially when you want to use something like this as a small wallet. But they do have pros and they do have cons. With the Chanel card holder, I feel that it's a little bit more luxurious. I love the detail that the caviar has that you see here, and I just love the way that it feels. It's a little bit softer, and you obviously have a lot less hardware to deal with, so you don't have to think about, you know, getting too many scratches on the hardware because there's not too much going on. It's a little bit more simple, and you know, I think that simplicity sometimes speaks volumes, and it definitely speaks with this item, you know, so I really like that aspect of it. Now with the Saint Laurent, you have a little bit more of the tighter pebbles on this one that you see here, so let me compare them side by side. Again, these look a little bit larger. It's a lot softer. This is a little bit more rough. But the pebbles here are a little bit tighter, and I feel that while this one is a little bit more luxurious, I feel that this one is more of a workhorse. This is more of an everyday, don't even think about, extremely carefree, even though I think that the caviar leather from Chanel is very durable. I feel that this one is just a little bit more to the point where you literally don't have to think about it at all. The only thing is that obviously you have a larger monogram here with the YSL, so this might have more of a tendency to scratch than this one does. So if you don't want to see scratches, especially if you're going to be using it as a workhorse, if you're going to be using it as something that you just don't think about, like I mentioned earlier, then you have more, you know, it's likelier to scratch than this one is. So that's something to note. But again, both items are fantastic. Now, even though this one does have the 3 credit card slots, one of the cons that I'd have to say about it is that because it is the softer caviar leather, and it tends to soften up over time. When I first got it, it was not as stiff as the Saint Laurent, but obviously over time and as I've used it, it started to soften up. But because of the leather softening up and because the leather tends to stretch out, if you're the type of person that needs to double up your cards, if you are to use something like this, then even though it hasn't happened to me, I've had quite a few of you actually send me messages that your card holders have gotten very loose to the point where when you put your cards in here, if you were to set it upside down, they kind of fall out. So that is something to take into consideration, because again, the leather, once it stretches out, especially if you're going to be doubling up, as I mentioned earlier, you have a tendency that it might end up just becoming a little bit more loose than you'd like. However, the Saint Laurent one, again, because I feel that the pebbles are a little bit tighter, you can double it up, but they're a little bit more fussier to take out the cards because of how tight it is. And again, I have used this, you know, I think for, like I told you guys, for a month, you know, and I doubled up some of the cards sometimes, and sometimes I didn't, but I feel that it really hasn't stretched out. It has stretched out to the point where it's not a pain in the butt to remove one card, but when I do put two, and I'll show you guys that in just a second, you'll see that it's a little bit more fussy to take out, you know, a card if you were to double it up with this one versus this one. But again, you have to think that once this starts to wear a little bit more, I feel that this one, the leather might last a little bit longer on this as far as not stretching out compared to this one. But again, I haven't had that issue, but I don't have a tendency to double them up on the Chanel card holder as much as I would on this one if I wanted to, because again, you guys know that I don't carry too many cards with me, so it's not an issue for me. But if you have a lot of cards that you have to carry with you daily, especially when you want to go compact, then it's definitely something to think about. And what better way to do a full-on comparison than giving you guys an actual example on how they fit if you were to double them up. So here I have a few cards. Some are the harder plastic, some are business cards, and then I also have some cash so you guys can have a better idea. Okay, so let's start off with the Chanel one first. I have my daughter card. I always carry my daughter card. You guys know that. I have a Bloomies Loyalist card, and then let's see, candies. Okay, so here I have I just used one card in each slot, one in the front, two in the back, and then I have 3 bills folded up, and you definitely have to fold them up with either one that you use quite a bit in order to fit them in if this is something that you need to do. And then I have 3 other cards here. So let me just put them in so you guys can see what it looks like. Okay. So here you go. I have a total of 4 cards on the top. Again, they're not all the harder plastic. Some are and some aren't. And then I have 3 bills here and then 1 credit card in each slot. Still very easy to be able to take them out. No problem. This one is always a little bit of a pain because you have the plastic here, but you're still able to take them out with ease. And as you can see, none of mine are falling out. And again, I don't have a tendency to double them up as much. So I have no issues with that one. Okay, now let me show you guys if I was to double them up. Okay, so here you go. I have them doubled up, stuffed up, and you can see it's a little bit poofier there, but I'm still able to retrieve them without a problem. And I'm still able to put them in without a problem either. So there you go. Okay, so nothing. Now let me start with the Saint Laurent. So I will start putting in, excuse me, each little card here. And one in the back. It's starting to be a little harder to put them in because I have 2 other cards in there already. And then let's put this guy in the front. All right, as you can see, it's getting a little a little fussy. Now if I were to put the remainder onto the top part here, and I kind of feel that when it comes to these card holders, the best way to open them up is sometimes to push on the sides. I don't recommend that, obviously, but that's something that I end up doing. So it's a lot tighter, and I'm able to fit them in, but not as easily as the Chanel one. There you go. So again, it's a little bit tighter. It's still not as, I don't think it's as wide, as poofy as the Chanel one was. But if I was to pull these out with everything else in them, and remember, there's only 1 card per slot, they're a little bit fussier to take out. And if I was to put them in, obviously I can put them in without a problem, but you have to kind of push on them, you know. So I have used this quite a bit, and I have doubled it up at some point, but not too much to the point where I don't feel that the leather is going to stretch out, you know. And once I use it more and more throughout the year and a half, kind of like I had the Chanel one, I feel that it might be a little bit easier, but I think that this will end up keeping its shape a little bit better. Okay, now what I did is I doubled them up all except for this one because I don't have, I only had 7 little cards with me. But with these on the back, you can see that they're not as, you know, they're not as flush to the size of the pocket that they should be because they're a little bit harder to put in. and this one has a single. And as you can see, because you're putting pressure from these two credit cards, it's harder to be able to take these out. So there's one. And then let me show you guys this one. I kind of feel like I have to put my fingers all the way through the pocket in order to be able to retrieve them when they are doubled up on the Saint Laurent. So it is a little, again, a little fussier with the Saint Laurent than the Chanel one. But I do like the fact that in the future, I feel that this one will end up definitely wearing a lot better than this one, because I have a feeling that it might end up stretching out if I was to use this a little bit more, to the point where I will have those issues that the credit cards end up falling out. But all in all, you know, do I recommend one over the other? I think that if you need something that's extremely carefree, something that you don't have to baby, you don't have to think about, even though it might be fussy to take your cards in and out of, I think that the Saint Laurent is a better option because of the pebbles. But if you want to go for something a little bit more luxe, if you want to go for something a little bit softer, then I think that the Chanel one would be a great option. Regardless, I think that they are both wonderful. And definitely when it comes to the Saint Laurent, it has a friendlier price tag than the Chanel one does. Obviously, it's $150 difference plus tax if your state actually has tax. Some states don't. You lucky people. But you know, I think both are wonderful, and sometimes I lean more towards the Saint Laurent because I like how durable it is, that I haven't had any issues. It really looks like the day that I got it as far as how it's held up, even with the hardware. But, you know, there is something about the Chanel one that always makes my heart sing. But I feel that over time, even within the last couple of weeks, I end up going for this one more than this one because of its durability. So it's all a matter of personal preference, but I thought I would kind of give you guys more of an example so you can see for yourself how fussy they can be or how much of a pain it could be to take out your credit cards or your cash should you need to. And I didn't even put the cash in here. Let's try this out, because it'll be a pain in the butt, even with just the ones doubled up on the back. So, you know, if you're in a hurry, I can see how this would be irritating. It could be frustrating. And then if you were to pull your cash out, you can do that, but I feel like you have to have a little bit of a lip on the outside. I don't know. But again, I think both are wonderful items, and it's all a matter of personal preference. So I hope this video was able to help you guys out. And, you know, that way you can decide whether to go for Chanel or whether to go for the Saint Laurent, but both are fabulous. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys all on Monday with another Minx Monday Q&A. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not. The choice is yours. Have a great day, you guys.